Lisa's hate/criticism wave is slowly dying down. Almost 1 month has passed since Alter Ego was released, and I feel like now is the perfect time to talk about Alter Ego and some things that went wrong with it, from the poor song choices to the lack of promotions and Lisa's team seemingly sabotaging her. Before I get into the music, let's talk about the timing of Alter Ego's release. When I saw Lisa's album would be released shortly before Venus retrograde in Aries, I immediately knew the album rollout and the public's reaction to Lisa and her album would be a shit show because Lisa has an Aries stellium. If you know astrology, you'd know that retrogrades are all about reflection, reassessment, and the mishaps one made in the past, and especially the mistakes one does during this period will come to light and will be pointed out to you. Sadly, in Lisa's case, this happened on a massive scale. While Lisa clearly didn't flop with her album, mainly because she's already a big artist, she undeniably received more backlash than praise for this project and her performance at the Oscars. This retrograde energy is really hitting her hard. I bet she's probably taking all the online criticism very personally. Moreover, with the eclipses in Virgo and Aries, I believe and hope that the criticism Lisa has received is compelling her to reconsider how she presents herself to the world. And honestly, with the way this album rollout has played out, it's clear she and her team need to rethink how they want to market Lisa to a Western audience. Now let's get into the music. So I listened to Alter Ego twice, and honestly, the album isn't as bad as the internet makes it out to be, but I have to admit it lacks depth. In my opinion, this album would have worked better as an EP rather than a full-length album. The only tracks that truly tell a personal story are Born Again, New Woman, and Dream. Born Again and New Woman in particular explore Lisa's transition from the K-pop industry to becoming a global artist. She's being born again into a new version of herself, but instead of fully diving into that transition, most of the album is about flexing wealth and living a luxurious lifestyle. It feels repetitive and doesn't add much substance to her story. One of the biggest issues I have with Alter Ego is that Lisa gets overshadowed by her featured artists on her own songs. In Born Again, which features Ray and Doja, Lisa sings nearly half of the song, yet her parts feel forgettable. Ray's and Doja's vocal performances, and also Doja's rap performance, are more dynamic, and this easily outshines Lisa, making it feel like Lisa is the featured artist rather than the main artist. The same happens with When I'm With You, a duet with Tyla. The voices blend well together, but Tyla's parts are more memorable, even with an even line distribution. Then there's Fuck Up the World, which was clearly the wrong song to promote. This isn't the 2010s anymore. Just having a future feature isn't enough to make a song a hit. Lisa gets easily overshadowed again, but this time this is largely due to the weak and awkward lyrics that don't seem to fit the flow of the song. Some of these lyrics are cringe-worthy, like, I've been living, sitting pretty, fixing pretty cities, busy, really getting busy with it, giddy up. This doesn't even make sense at all. Or take Thunder as another example, where she raps, I'm a color-popping pocket rocket. How did Lisa and her team think this was a bar? Even for K-pop standards, these lyrics are weak. It feels like Lisa and her team didn't put much effort into shaping her as a rapper that Western audiences would take seriously. If Lisa truly wants to be respected as a rapper and singer outside of K-pop, she needs to move past these weak and nonsensical lyrics. Western audiences expect more from rappers, and she can't just rely on production alone. At the end of the day, Alter Ego often, at least to me, feels like Lisa is featuring on someone else's album rather than leading her own project. If she wants to establish herself as a serious artist in the West, she needs to put in the effort, not only in terms of branding, but in creating meaningful, well-crafted music that showcases her strength, and especially write lyrics that make sense and resonate with a Western audience. There's one thing I haven't seen many people talk about, so in my opinion, I personally think it was a mistake for Lisa to make her album entirely in English. We all know that Lisa isn't a native English speaker, fluent in English, nor did she grow up in a Western country. So, it's possible she had to rely on her songwriters to help craft lyrics that would appeal to Western audiences, but clearly no one on her team stepped in to tell her when something wasn't working. That's how we ended up with lines like, I'm a color-popping pocket rocket. Unlike Rosie and Jenny, who grew up in Western countries, countries and are native English speakers, Lisa may not have that same instinct for what sounds good and flows well in English. That's not her fault, obviously, but it does mean she needs the right people around her to help her refine her lyrics. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen. Her team should have made sure her lyrics felt natural and appealing to a Western audience, but instead, they let her release lines that just don't work. Honestly, this makes me wonder if some people on her team are intentionally setting her up to fail, because there is no way professional songwriters and producers listened to these lyrics and thought, yeah, this is great, this is gonna do well. If Lisa had written songs in Thai or Korean, I'm sure she could have better fully expressed herself and her lyricism might have come through more. But by forcing everything into English without the right guidance, her team put her at a disadvantage. Yeah, so far this album rollout has been a mess. Like I've said before, I still believe if Lisa would have performed her songs live by now, the public's perception of her music would have been more positive. Lisa clearly refusing to perform her songs live is a huge mistake. If she actually wants to be taken seriously as an artist in the West, she needs to do more than just show up and do lip-synced performances at big events like the Oscars and the Global Citizen Festival. She needs to do talk shows, live performances, and actual promo. Even big artists like Billie Eilish and Ariana Grande promote their music regularly and sing their songs on talk shows. Lisa can't just expect people to take her seriously if she doesn't put in the effort. Also, the lip syncing really needs to stop. Lisa, if you want people to believe in your artistry, you need to prove first that you can actually sing and rap your songs. In addition, Lisa and her team completely dropped the ball when it comes to promoting her 5 alter egos. These alter egos are supposed to tie into her upcoming comic book, but barely anyone knows or talks about this. The rollout for this concept has been way too quiet, and it feels like a wasted opportunity. On top of that, Lisa and her team made another mistake. The alter egos aren't quite distinct enough in the music itself. Lisa sings and raps more or less in the same voice throughout the entire album, so there is no real sonic difference between the alter egos. You can't really hear the alter egos in the songs, especially if you don't know that Lisa is doing an alter ego concept. You would have no idea they exist, if you know what I mean. If she had maybe experimented more with her tone, delivery, or even vocal effects, this concept could have been way more engaging. It's disappointing to see that this alter ego concept is more visual based. This just feels like a missed opportunity. Lastly, let's address the claims that Lisa is only successful because of her connections to the Arnault family. These claims are undeniably racist. It's ridiculous to suggest that a woman of color could only find fame and success through her association with a powerful white billionaire family. Lisa was already one of the biggest K-pop stars long before she was linked to them. She built her career from the ground up, becoming the first non-Korean idol under YG Entertainment and cementing herself as one of the most famous and successful K-pop artists ever. Her rise wasn't handed to her, it was a result of her talent, hard work, and appeal. That being said, we also need to be very realistic here, okay? Just because Lisa is a massive K-pop star doesn't mean that this success will automatically translate to Hollywood. If she wants to be taken seriously in that industry, she needs to do more than just show up at big events. She has to actively work on projects and promote herself beyond performances. When she recently performed at the Oscars, the immediate reaction from many people online was to question why she was even there to begin with, with some suggesting that she simply paid her way in. This reaction shows that her name alone doesn't hold any weight in Hollywood yet. And let's be honest, Lisa's connections to the Arnaults has undeniably given her access to rooms that otherwise she wouldn't have been able to enter as a woman of color. Whether people want to admit it or not, these connections have opened doors for her. This is more likely the reason she performed at the Oscars. But connections alone won't build a lasting career. If Lisa truly wants to establish herself in Hollywood, she needs to put in the work, take on more projects, and prove that she belongs. She has potential. Her performance in The White Lotus was a promising start, but she needs to show us more. To sum up my thoughts on Lisa's debut album, Alter Ego had the potential to be a strong debut, but sadly it was held back by weak lyrics, poor promotion, and bad creative decisions. Lisa wants to separate herself from K-pop and make it in Hollywood, but if she doesn't take criticism and improve, she'll continue to struggle. Hopefully by Coachella next month, we'll see some growth. Otherwise, these waves of criticism will keep coming.